Good morning. Happy Sunday. To those of you who are coming in, I'm not going to spend too much time on this topic. Is Joe Biden dementia that severe? Meaning that is that much of his memory is lost, and is he really as suffering with any kind of cognitively right now imbalance, or things are not functioning well cognitively for Joe Biden? I'm starting to question some things about him from what we saw in August. I'm sorry, from July. From the last 3 years, yeah, we know he was having some memory loss, and he was messing up a lot in his speech and struggling a lot when he went on that debate with Trump. But then a few weeks later, of course, we know there was an attempt on Trump, a bullet coming for Trump, and how a week or so later he signs a letter of resignation that he will not continue the debate. Some kind of document he put out on the internet that he will be not continuing to go on with the run for presidency for his second term, and that he was going to allow Kamala Harris, his VP. They didn't even, in that letter, it didn't even say nothing about Kamala, that he did not pick Kamala at the time. When we go back at things, when they received the document that Joe Biden will be no longer, running for candidate as a candidate for presidency for his second term, then that document, it did not mention anything about Kamala, his VP office, or I mean his vice president. But then maybe a week or so later, because we didn't hear from Joe Biden after the document, and then it didn't have the president's seal or anything on the document. So people questioned it, and finally he came out um, from vacation at Rehoboth or whatever, having ice cream and senior citizen, doing senior citizen things, I guess, and probably under some medical care. We didn't see his wife, we didn't see his family come out and talk, nobody. And then he finally came out and he sat at the desk in the Oval Office and started talking about all kind of things through American history of leadership, of presidents, and how we are run as a democracy. Um, the people get to choose their own leaders. We don't just put somebody there and just make them our leader. Okay, it doesn't go like that. People have to here to vote, and we get to pick our leaders who we feel would be the best person that is qualified for the position. So I'm just saying here, I'm looking at this photo, and the reason I got this photo out, I screenshot this photo here with President Biden wearing a MAGA hat, and Trump is standing there in front of the screen, the television, whatever. Like, oh my God, what is this dude doing? And I'm just saying, like, if this is somebody you joking or not joking, I don't think I would be mocking them or making any kind of joke about wearing a mega hat, knowing that they already is a lot of things that you're being, you know, looked at by this person, and the person don't called you a crooked person, and you done some crooked things, you and your Harris, the Biden and Harris administration, but you wearing a mega hat. So people's like, oh, he's joking. I don't know about joking. That's why I'm asking, is his dementia that severe? And is he sometimes doing things that he doesn't really understand or really don't know what he's doing? He got a lot of memory loss, whatever. And then I went back and I watched the video of him getting the hat from somebody. He was signing hats, on that particular, he was doing autographing some hats, the people that came out to the DNC or whatever, but somebody passed him a mega hat. And this mega hat, they said, I want you to autograph it. And he took the hat. I would have been like, no, we're not going to do that here, da 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 da. But he took the hat and he actually put the hat on top of his head. All right. He took the hat and he took it on and put it on top of his head. So God is amazing. Let me tell you something, and I'm going to talk about Jesus in a moment, okay? Because I'm gonna go to the scripture here. God is so amazing because, like I said, He can do some things that you you be surprised. Like and the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm coming from the book of First Thessalonian, right? Chapter 5, verses 21 to 22. And here it says in the Bible, this Bible says, but the least everything, it says, says, but test everything, hold fast what is good. This verse is part of Paul's instructions to Thessalonian and includes following guidance. And the thing is that you question everything. You got to question some things. And I'm questioning both sides of things. Like I told people, I'm registered as a Democrat, but I am not voting Democrat. I am considering myself more independent because I am looking at both sides of things that I like about what I see with the Republicans stand for in their policies and what I see in the Democrat Party. I don't know if everybody in the Democrat Party agrees and touches on the same thing in the policies, but as far as these two candidates that's running for presidency, I see that Trump policies are a whole lot better than what I hear from Kamala. Okay, Kamala doesn't really have a policy, to be honest, because she dodges around the question a lot. She never comes straight forward and say, look. She always talks about the story of her middle class life, her mother in small business, and her family owned a small business. Whatever her mother was, to be honest with you, I really don't listen too much to Kamala, but I do try to catch some things she said and see what I can agree on. But I haven't found anything she said to answer about her policies. I know a lot of things she have actually took from things from Trump. But what Trump said about no tax on tips, and a lot of other things that she might have just like tried to take away from what Trump said and turn it around and make it sound like it was her original plan and that she's going to do things, everything we said about the borders and questions about that and things about what she's going to do about the economy. She seems to dodge around a lot of things and go into her story of being a middle class family and being raised by her mother and some other woman that another woman that played the role in her life as another second mother. She really doesn't say much about her father for some reason, and I don't understand that. And then she's supposed to be black, like isn't her dad supposed to be a Jamaican, um, biracial Jamaican child where his father was black or somebody on his side was black and one parent was Irish? And then she never talks about that side of her. So she always put everything back to the mother. She doesn't really talk about the father. She doesn't really give any of her black family side of who she is. And that's why I say she is somebody that I really very skeptical about. Like I don't trust her. We really still don't know who Kamala is or Kamala. Kamala. I know I say her name in so many different ways. I don't know how to really pronounce her real name because I don't know who she is. And then on top of that, she switches up her accent everywhere she goes to suit the audience she's speaking to. She'll talk one minute she talk like some valley girl from Southern California somewhere, and then she'll talk like a Canadian, then she'll talk like a a black girl from the sorority, and all these other different personalities that she has, like schizophrenia in its best. Okay. So it's like really hard to really figure her out. And like I said, Trump has always been consistent. He hasn't, to me, changed in no kind of way the way he delivered his speech, in the way he comes at people about the attacks on the Democrat Party, and on how he wants to, help the American people, how he loves America, and about doing what's prioritize the American people. His speech has always been consistent. Regardless of how it's delivered, it's been consistent. So, with this woman and Joe Biden with his so-called dementia, I question a lot of things on the Democrat Party. I can't be about a womb assassination. Now that I am I got more understanding of it than I did many, many years ago. Because I never really followed politics many, many, many years ago. And this has never really been a real big topic on, women having the rights over their body and not aborting their unborn children, and women that get pregnant out there having, sporting, I call it sporting sex, meaning that you're not seriously getting married to someone. You're not really looking into settling down. You're just out there just enjoying, sharing, you know, just multiple sex partners. Like, oh, tonight I have a date with so and so. We're gonna sleep together. Even some of the stuff they put on television or in Hollywood, in movies and stuff, like they show the lifestyle of the rich and famous, or they show the lifestyle of people on in movies, that you'll see this woman dating several different guys, and she's sleeping with multiple different partners, which isn't a healthy lifestyle. It's a risky lifestyle, because anything can happen. Not only just pregnancies, we talk about transmitted diseases, and sexual transmitted diseases, or whatever. We talking about catching something that can really, really do some, um put some damage to your life. Like, really, you could get syphilis, you could get herpes, you could get gonorrhea, you could get trichomonias, you could get all kind of venereal diseases sleeping with different partners, and don't really protect. That's not protecting your body, and that's not taking care of the body of Christ, and that's not taking care of your temple. When you think of these things, that's why God made it a man and a woman, a wife, and having a husband. And even though people in the Bible did some ignorant things as well, like this man will marry more than one wife, like we saw what happened in so many stories that took place in the Bible, at times when people done things out of the ignorance of their understanding of things, knowing things they didn't know. And nobody's perfect. God shows us both sides of things. And that's what I like about the Bible. You're going to get both sides of things, what things were good, what things were evil, and how some men would change from bad to good, and how some good people turned out to be bad people. It could go either way, right? So back to what I'm saying on this topic about this dementia with Joe, I'm not really feeling it. I think Joe was looking for a way out. I think Joe was trying to find himself, not wanting to run for a second term. I think Joe really did not care about the American people. He just was doing what he was doing because of the deficit we had with other nations, other countries, and the money that was owed to the places, like, you know, all of these other places or whatever like that. How, they printing money, bringing more immigrants over the border, illegals over the border, not people that are coming in, that are coming through the immigration process, but they coming through being able to get documents, and become citizens, and they not really being um screened, or they not really being investigated, or who they are, of any background check or anything in the immigration, is part of our immigration laws. So we don't know if they terrorists. We don't know if they belong to any organized crime. We don't know what might political stuff they might be involved with in their own country. And everything that needs to be done before you enter into our borders, over our borders and everything. So things of that nature. They just letting people come through without really truly doing thorough research and giving them free Medicaid, housing, jobs, whatever. We saw the movie when Castro emptied out the dregs of his prisons in Cuba and sent them over to the United States. People that were refugees or whatever like that, that was sent over to the United States. Some was involved in something political, and he couldn't trust them anymore, and he wanted to get them out of his country, and he just sent them over to the United States of America, and have told them if they return, they going to be murdered. But it is just things that some countries do. They make a deal with America, and the thing is that why are these people coming? But a lot of these people that are coming over the borders may be connected to something political in their country, and not only something political, but they may be even people that coming over here that are criminals to harm, hurt. And I'm not saying political criminals. They could be criminals that are just running an organization, a crime organization, and coming to America. They call sex trafficking and trafficking or whatever stuff of that nature. So you got to be very careful who you bring across the borders. Like when we saw in Scarface, we saw that in Scarface, Castro didn't trust some man that used to work for Castro, and Castro sent him over the borders, sent him over to U.S. As soon as he got inside the camp, it was a crime that took place that um they stabbed the man to death. And a lot of these things, the immigration, they not showing you all the crime and murders and everything that's taking place inside of they letting them out, but some of these people are dangerous people while they holding them in a refugee camp. You see what I'm saying? And they being evaluated and being investigated and everything. So if you ever see the movie Scarface from the beginning, they're gonna show you when Tony Montana and his friend and some friends, they all was together. They was part of a gang. And remember when the police officer, which was a crooked police officer, he ended up getting killed and murdered by, running. He was able to get Tony and his boys over to through the immigration, and he was a crooked cop, whatever. And he looked at a mark on Tony's hand, and he says, "This is a part of a gang, and I know this is a part of a gang. I see so many of them coming through." So these are the things they have to screen. These are the things they have to look at before they bring you over to the United States. We have enough crime, gangs, violence, all of that stuff as it is in our country, as it is in America. So we have to be very careful. This is why Trump is saying you have to be very, very careful about who we allowing over to our borders. Now these men came over, they got involved, they met up with some people to get a job, as become an organized crime. This is what Trump is talking about for those people who don't really understand how this thing is done. Economically, we have to pay to house, feed, Medicaid, whatever. Give everybody free stuff, free stuff. No, that's not going to help the problem. That's not going to make crime go away. It's only going to increase it. We have to know what's truly what these people real reasons for coming. Some people left because they don't the government over there is, like I said, political refugees or whatever like that. The country and everything, they're running for their lives because of their political stand over the borders. Just like some Americans who leave and they exile, whatever, because they might get in some criminal trouble in the United States of America, but they over in another country and they have to be punished for their crime or whatever. They go and escape to another country. Sometimes we, like in Mexico, we seen what took place with the young lady Sand, whatever her name is. Who's going to pay for to have these people return? Who's going to pay for all for the people to be brought back to United States of America to be prosecuted for their crimes. We saw what happened to what's the young lady name that was killed over there in Mexico, beaten by that young black girl. They took over there to Mexico, and the hate crime, woman crimes, and stuff that happened. I forgot what they call it, femicide or whatever that crime. And she was beaten by so-called friends that she went out there with. Um, and killed, and there was no, they did the investigation, whatever, and their family has been saying there has been no justice served for her killing. The video was shown of her being beaten, but in nudity and everything. So her family had to go over there and get her body, bring her back, funeralize her, da 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 da. So what was that really truly all about? Nobody really knows. That was been quiet. And Shanquilla, the Shanquilla Robinson story. Not only just Shanquilla, but there's so many others out there that you just didn't hear about. Women that were taken over there, sex trafficking, crimes, whatever. So you got to be really careful about places you travel. How even going on vacation. She went to that villa. Her and supposed to be some friends. They got back. The day that she was killed, they all caught a flight, got their way back to United States of America, and then left Shanquilla's body there, and they brought her clothes and all her belongings and everything to her family. And her mother was like, what's going on? And they tried to tell her the story. If you followed that story about Shanquilla Robinson, and we got so many young people out here today who are missing, gone missing. And it could have been done through some organized crime from some organization, from some kind of things they got themselves involved with. So all I'm saying, please hit the like button, those of you who are coming in. Like, does Joe Biden as our president now wearing a Trump mega hat? And I'm saying God is amazing. I question everything because I don't know if his dementia is that severe. And like I said about Kamala, we don't know really why they rolled her out there as the Democrat nominee or the Democrat representative for to vote her in as president for this election of 2024, and how it was done. I'm thinking Joe Biden is really trying to get out of the Democrat race, and he's also party or whatever, and he's just playing these dementia games. And I truly believe he's more with the policies that Trump has lined up, and he just want to just throw that, you know, he just want to throw in the towel. He's staying at the Oval Desk right now because we really right now he's not really operating as a president, as we all know, because Trump even said it at the debate. He says, "Where is your president? We don't even have we don't even know who the president is." And that whole side of and everything that's been taking place for the American people, like we saw things happening with these problems going over there in Iran and in Israel, and the wars and all of this other stuff that's taking place. And who's been basically standing in the front line for the American people, representing already for us as the president of the United States that showed up. And where's Kamala? She's at her sorority meetings. She's out there representing. She out there doing whatever. And nothing that really is really what's important for the American people. She's doing more things like out there just on her honeymoon. And Joe, of course, we don't see much of him. We saw them at the 9/11 memorial last Wednesday, and we saw her for doing her at the DNC for the Democrat National Convention, and all the other things they've been doing in Tampon Tim. They call them Tampon Tim Walls or whatever. They all support going to a church that is all about the LGBTQ community, and it's just all kind of crazy madness going on in that city of San Francisco, southern, I forgot what part of California, northern California, whatever. And it's just crazy that you don't see these people, but everything that is important for the American people about the borders, meeting with certain foreign affairs and doing things to negotiate economy, working on our economy, working to go see about some of the victims, families, and all this other stuff. Where presidents are supposed to be working as a leader of this nation for the American people. Mostly the person who's been showing up and doing all the work is Donald Trump already. This and Kamala is just out there just ready getting scamming you out your money, scamming you for votes, playing on your feelings, playing on your intelligence, using all of these tactics that she used. And she hasn't really been acting like a vice president, somebody that really serious about becoming the president of the United States of America. She to me, she hasn't. She hasn't told you anything about any policies. She just shows up at the debates, and she just mostly her thing was to attack Trump and talk about her middle class life being raised by a single mother, her mother and her mother's auntie or whoever that was helped raise her. She spoke nothing about her father. Trump had to give you that information. Everything that you need to listen to, that this woman, we got everybody, all people talk about, oh, she roast him. She roast him nothing. To me, I listened to that debate, and Trump was just showing up just to give her her time, give her show. And he just still talked about the same stuff that he always talk about, and he's been consistent about, and he hasn't missed a beat. She's the one who's been flip flopping and fracking and doing all that other stuff and cackling and doing all that other stuff. But other than that, Trump already been there, done that already. He really didn't have to debate her. It really wasn't no reason for him to debate her because she was never nominated by the people in the first place to be president, to run for presidency for this election of 2024. She was cooped in by Biden. And he's playing on this dementia stuff that he wasn't able to continue to go on. Pictures speaks. You capture things in photo, like him in this picture here with this mega hat smiling. And Trump face is like, what? Look at the picture. Look at the picture. That's why I put it up here on the screen. Read into the picture. Because basically, what he's saying, even if he's not saying it, action speaks louder than words. I'm for make America godly again. I'm not going to say great, but I'm going to say godly. And the way God operates, God can shut your mind down and God can restore and renew all things. Because that's how powerful God is. He is our creator. And I truly believe God is about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, which is the Democrat Party. Because everything they you could just do it all. Like you go to the city of San Francisco, you want to shoot up dope, you want to be a LGBTQ, you want to transform your sex, you want to do whatever you want in some church out there in that Kamala is a member of. You can do all those things against Christ. Not things that are willing to follow Christ, but things that are against Christ. Christ didn't tell you to stay a dope addict. Christ didn't tell you to come in and stay as you are. A dope addict, a prostitute, a alcoholic, you know, you got conflicting sexual desires, whatever. Christ didn't tell you to stay there. Come, but don't stay. You are supposed to follow him. You don't go back to things that are destroying your body, your life, your everything, your growth, your everything. You're not supposed to stay. Follow him. But some of y'all choose to follow Kamala to hell. And I was listening to Vince Everett Ellison on his topic, and he spoke on this stuff. I can't get into it right now because I'm just like, oh. But I just wanted to just share with you that action speaks louder than words. Look at this photo, question everything. And I'm looking at it real. And I posted it on my community wall, but this somebody talking about this is a joke. This ain't no joke. This is real. And I went back to watch the video when the person handed him the hat and told him to sign it. And he put the hat on his head and smiled and took a picture. Like, hey, I'm just having fun right now. I'm not your president anymore. I'm just living out the term right now here at the White House. But the truth is that I ain't with this Democrat policy anymore. The Kamala do her thing and think and I doubt if they gonna let her in there. And if they do, it's just gonna be a civil war in America. That's all I got to say. It's just gonna be a civil war. And a lot of people went out on the street and you ask people why you voting for her. They couldn't even tell you. They couldn't tell you her vote. They didn't tell you why. And then this stuff about womb assassination. God did never tell no woman to take their womb and destroy from an unborn child. And they will Jesus speak very clearly about what you do harm to children. He speaks on that. What Jesus says about children. A noose should be hung around your neck, and you should be not drowned in the Red Sea, or you need to be just thrown in the water and just you should be hung when you try to harm the life of an innocent child with no without any he speaks on that stuff. Is anybody who's promoting this type of behavior, assassination from the womb. A woman should have control over her own life. God is in control of the womb, not woman. God. Now, one thing if you don't know and you done it before and you didn't know, but when you do know and it's being told for you, you see what I'm saying? And anything we do choose to do, it's going to be consequences, no matter what, of assassinating the womb. And I think the young lady that spoke at the Revolt News when they had that watch on the debate, and it became a very combative platform. Everything was the moderator and everything. She had that whole thing so toxic and so crazy. But I think the people that was speaking, the audience and everything, that young lady that came to speak on that, we need to hear more from her to speak on that issue from the biblical perspective. And I think she did a great job. And it was very hard for everybody to get it because of all the other nonsense that was going on around it. That people started to become, so angry and upset, and the crowd got crazy and wild in there. So it made too much noise to really get the message to sink in, for people to really truly understand what she was trying to say. I see 15 people in the chat. Please, if you watching or you out there in the bushes, if you here in the chat, please hit the like button. I appreciate it very, very much. I can't see you on the screen in the chat because I'm not, I'm on my phone and it's hard to see on the people in the chat. It's hard to see the people in the chat. But I pray and hope my moderator's out there handling things the way she should for me. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate those of you who hitting the like button. But I just had to show this photo because I'm like saying, wow, this is interesting. Why is Joe wearing a mega hat and smiling? And I saw the video when Joe put the hat on and how the person handed it. And I believe he autographed the hat too. Joe is just playing with this dementia stuff, y'all. They said Joe was fine. They let him go on to run it. Then they finally kicked him out. And these people, good. Thank you very much, Frankie. Yeah. So Joe knows he does not want to be associated, affiliated, or whatever no longer because God has said something to Joe. He is working on Joe. Now, I'm not saying everything Trump said I agree with, especially I already spoke to you about gun laws. I don't think people that got mentally insane people and crazy people should have guns. They need to be regulated. And something needs to be done with the NRA about guns and who should and should not have guns. It should be regulated. I don't think that we should just like totally just snatch up everybody's gun. I'm not a gun person. I'm not with the gun stuff. Look at the father that just brought his son the gun that he gave his child, and that young boy went to school with the gun and shot up a bunch of people at the school up there in Georgia. How that happened, this 14-year-old. Look at the mother that had the gun in her gun. She kept it in her say. I don't know what kind of work she did or whatever, but her 10-year-old child who suffered with some kind of unidentified mental illness, a 10-year-old or whatever like that could not have a virtual video game or something like that she had to take away from the child, and the child went and found the mother's gun, came down and was so angry, came down, got a hold of her gun, and shot and killed his mother. Okay? So you really got to be careful about who you allow around guns. Guns should never be in no place where a child, and especially when you got kids in your home with mental illness, as much as you saying you want to protect your children from any burglar or anybody coming in your home or anybody doing any harm to you or whatever, you got a gun in your house. I could go on and on about a whole lot of stories about how these things turn on you when you around people. It can happen from a spouse. You could get into a heated argument about something, or maybe something that you might catch them doing, and you just right then and there you just get you get traumatized or whatever. You could just go, things can happen in an instant. So you have to really be careful about the gun law. And the things about guns is that people use guns to kill people, to hurt people. And they say you protecting yourself. Let me tell you something. When a person ready to snap, you never know when they gonna snap. And they might be able to get to that gun quicker than you can get to it. So you gotta be very careful about putting these kind of things in the harm around human beings. Just pray over your house. Let the word of God be your protection over your life. Always call out the name of Jesus. Call on the Lord to keep your home safe, keep your loved ones safe. You just got to know how to talk to the Lord for your protection. Wherever you might go, how God will lead you and protect you. You have to have more faith in the Lord for your protection. Now, some people, now guns, I believe a police officer who has to be out there in the street fighting crime, and people that work in those kind of jobs, security jobs of those nature, but they got to keep it safe around their home. Here in the state where I'm at, they got open carry. It used to be a dude when I used to take the bus, get on the bus with his gun open and carrying it. And I think it used to frighten the hell out of people because you don't know this man. You don't know if he was crazy. He worked in security and everything, but did he have to have his gun out open and carrying it? on public transportation like that. He just worked in security at the mall. Now, police officers, yes, they have their guns to open carry, whatever. But even with that, depending on what assignment they on, as doing they work on the street fighting crime, having a gun and everything else like that, because there's a lot of innocent bystanders that get shot and killed. They should more have a taser gun or something like that to protect themselves, or maybe some kind of gun that not no real bullets and stuff to really hurt people. She says there's some things about the fact that not every police officer deserves. Look at what that one did that went in that house to that mentally ill, the woman. I don't know if she was mentally ill, whatever. And the woman was burning something on the stove, and when she said something, and the next thing you know, the officer pulled out his gun, and he murdered her and killed her. Crazy people like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful what kind of people you are allowing to be on the police force. They need to be really mentally evaluated, and you have to really do some research of their last history of their last jobs or whatever like that before you let them on the police force over citizen lives. We can't have reckless police officers like this, things like this happening, and to a certain group of people. And if they have any kind of hatred in their heart for a certain group of people of skin color, that wouldn't be a good idea. And they always say your evil always into your own heart. So you got to be very careful. Like I said, I'm looking at both sides of things. Those things like Trump, I don't think he's a real race. Sometimes I don't even think he knows what comes out of his mouth, and that it can trigger some people and hurt some people what he say. But it hasn't really truly been his action. But yes, his speech sometimes can get a little, when he comes off and he start pointing out certain groups of people. You gotta, when you're talking to the American people in this country, um, we have to have some type of filter on it where you just can't just say anything. There should be some filter, because we got some sick people in this country. We got some mentally ill people in this country. We got some people in here that has a real, sickness in their heart of hate. They got some real sickness in their heart to hate. And just saying some certain things could just get them right off. You know, as much as I do have a love for being black and loving my black people, some of my black people, not all. Okay, and I'm gonna keep it real, you know. But we have to be careful when we address certain issues and how we talk about certain issues, and we do have to, sometimes be a little more, you know, filtered about black, white, whatever our differences. Like I say about the LGBTQ, I try to educate them. I try to take them to the Word of God, and I try to point out Jesus. I try to tell them, look, you doing this to your God never said this is right. You making it right for your own desire, your own flesh, and it's in the Bible clearly that you're not gonna enter into your flesh is gonna burn. Okay, point blank, period. And you're putting harm to yourself, into your life, into your body, because your body wasn't made to be used that way. It was not made. And especially when you go really over to the extreme of trying to change your body parts to recreate yourself, to transform yourself, whatever. God made you the way He made you because He made you perfect in His own image. Okay? He made you perfect in your own image. You just got to educate people about certain things when you talk on certain topics. Don't have that hate growing in your heart over someone because okay, we know that they out here. People gonna be born. People gonna have suffer with that type of mental. Ill call it what it is. It's mental illness. It's part of mental illness. Transgenders and homosexuality and having the attraction to the same sex that you are in a certain way that a man and woman should be. That is to me a mental illness. It could go under the category. But we're not supposed to teach them with hate and want to kill them and murder them and do certain bad things to them. No. We got to talk to them in a way where they can get the word of God to touch down on them to help them to try to transform to live their life right for the Lord and want to get right with the Lord. Not to get right for just for somebody else to like them, but for the God. They could change their way and they could be a blessing to somebody else. Let God use you for his glory. This is what I'm saying. It's just the way it is. But we're not going to teach hate to white people. We're not going to teach hate to black people because there is some black group of class. I love everybody. And it is what it is. I love everybody. But there's just some people that can be difficult and be obnoxious and hard to get along with and hard to be around. And they could be very offensive. And I know Trump probably could say some things that could be very offensive and it could be obnoxious or whatever. But one thing I do could say about Trump, look at the good side of him. No, he don't agree with women and men playing in the same sports. He don't agree that men should be sharing that space with women in the bathroom. And he don't agree with women and women should be in a union and a man should be in a union. He don't promote those type of things. But he needs to work on reconsidering and thinking about what he say about police officers getting immunity and reconsider thinking about things of saying things about our gun laws. Okay? Those things need to be reevaluated and reconsidered as a leader in our country when we living in here with crazy people in society and people that's just sick and mentally insane. And as for Kamala, she's just way left. Just way left liberal. Okay? There's some boundaries, Kamala. There is some boundaries, Kamala, in saying the things that you say out there of giving people the right to choose their bodies, giving people the defund police officers when we need police officers, especially in cities that are overcrowded with a bunch of crazy and lunatics and people that are in the cities where there is a high crime area. We need police officers, but we need to get them trained the right way to deal with these kind of crimes and how they have to, you know, protect citizens, not just shoot them down and kill them. There's got to be another kind of way you can train to help, you know, um, restraining a person or whatever. Just don't stop people on the corner giving tickets out just because you got the hate in your heart and all that other stuff. No, we can't be doing that. But I'm just saying, we need officers. We need more and more officers, more today than we ever needed before because of all the crazy, insane, and criminals they allowing into this country now. But we don't need them to be going around shooting and killing innocent citizens. So both parties need to reconsider a lot of things that they want for the American people and don't want for the American people. Okay, they both need to look at those things. And Kamala, when I say way left, she's just so way left with everything, and she's just out here just being a cackling Kamala, and she's taking everything like it's funny and it's a joke, and she's trying to be with all this positive energy, and then we don't need all of that right now. Right now, we have a immigration crisis, and we also have an inflation going on, and our economy needs to be put in place and fixed, and our problems going on with wars right now and stuff like that, getting hostages home and keeping our borders, just keeping America safe. And then we have something with godliness. Okay? We have to live governed by the laws of God. That's the way I look at it. That we need, as individuals, as people, and as citizens of this country, need to consider putting God back into our families, into our schools, and into our world. Point blank, period. And then God can restore, rebuild, and make us a strong, wealthy nation again. Because everybody depends on what we do as an American to help everybody around the world. And one thing we need to bring back into the world is we need to bring God first before anything else, before ourselves, but before anything else, we got to put God back into leadership with us. Let God govern us. Let God be our lead, our guide, our everything in our lives. No businesses should be operating such as grocery stores and things that's just not necessary to be open on a Sunday. Shopping in super grocery stores and also clothing malls, whatever, should be shut down on Sunday, and people should be home enjoying their life with God or at church, or at least open in later hours so that people can go to church, people can have breakfast or brunch or whatever in the morning with their families. We got to give God our time first. We can't always put our time into the making the money, the dollar bill, and all that other stuff. And people should be able to live on a comfortable income, and people should be able to work and get the benefits that they need from their employee. They need medical coverage, and they need a good medical plan that they can afford. Free Medicaid, I'm not with that. Every employer should have medical coverage for their employee and buy a good plan. If we have to get some other supplement medical plan from the government, then that should be offered to the American people for good health care. Okay? But nobody should just be coming over here and tax dollars, and everything else should be spent on wars and taking care of illegals, and that don't illegal people that come over here should be offered any free help. Okay? You got to come with a plan. Okay? You got to come to put into our economy. You got to come in to want to work and also pay your taxes. Ain't no way you come in here and you not putting into the system and you gonna get free stuff. I don't get what the free. I already talked about that free stuff, and I think that's what Trump plan is to do. Yeah, every American gonna get coverage for medical help, whatever they on a high paying jobs, low paying jobs, but every American gonna get good health care. And the companies that they work for or the employer is going to have to provide that. Well, he can't be in business if you're not going to provide health coverage for your employees and their families. I don't care if you work at McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. Well, Chick-fil-A does that for their employees. They are a Christian you know, food service place or whatever you want to, fast food restaurant, whatever you want to call it. But Chick-fil-A take care of their employees. They operate like they Christians. They don't support same-sex marriages. They don't support none of that LGBTQ crazy. People may work there that might be in that lifestyle, but it ain't a lifestyle they promote. Okay. So, anyway, and I think that, we need to go back to those things again. People need to be God, family, and your nation, your community, and the world. We need to go back to those values. In America, we need to go back to those being governed under God in our life. All that foolishness in the church right now that's going on. They talk about separate the church from the state. Let me tell you something. Okay, when you want to have it your way, like Burger King. When you're not inside the sanctuary, you can do all of that. But when you come inside the sanctuary, all that is there. But we're going to do it in the way God wants us to do it when we walk into the sanctuary. So there is no separation. We are one. We under the government of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. When you walk into the sanctuary, you ain't going to come into God's house with all the nonsense from the world. That's when you separate the sanctuary from the world. I wish I could go on and on and on and on more about it, but I want y'all to take a look at this picture. And I think Joe is getting it. I think God is working on his mind. God is still working on his mind because the policy he had for the American people was garbage. It destroyed America, destroyed this country. And Trump was right about it, but he just got to learn how to say it in a way where it can be said with a little bit more toned down and a little bit more, you know. And I know he was very passionate. He's very passionate about what he say, but it got to be said in a way where the tone got to tone it down a little bit. Don't go too hard in the paint no more because you don't need to do all that because people already got you. They get it. You know what I'm saying? We get it. We real patriots of this country. We get it. That you need to reconsider looking and everything at your policies on guns and on police immunity because they can't go around killing people just because they police officers and they're going to get immunity and they're going to get away with it and da 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 da. No, we ain't doing that. Okay, we ain't doing that at all. All right, now. So with all that being said, maybe I may come back with you later on this Sunday evening, but I got things I have to take care. I did not get out and go to worship this morning because I said, nah, I'm gonna sit back and just have a conversation with the Lord myself because I didn't want to go into the sanctuary and like I said, now these days in the church and everything, I can't hear all that loud little noise, and not saying that the church that I go to worship at is like that, but I just wanted to just relax a little bit before my guests return back to the house. I just wanted to spend this time alone at home and just have a Sunday break, and I wanted to get to this library so that I can look for a certain book that I was been on my mind to read again. And they didn't have it at the other library that I went to, but I said I'm gonna try to find that. And then I didn't get around Saturday to do the things I needed to do yesterday because I went to get my hair done, and then on my way home, whatever. Like I said, I stopped by to try to get me a library book, and it wasn't there. And I came home, and I just didn't want to go back out. So I think I'm gonna just do some things today and relax a little because I was up early yesterday. I said let me stay in bed a little longer today, and I didn't even have breakfast yet. I didn't brunch, breakfast, whatever. I didn't, and I just wanted to just relax. I didn't even make breakfast. I just had a cup of coffee and a bagel. That was breakfast. Like a real big Sunday breakfast, like a brunch or whatever I usually do when I get home from worship and stuff. I might cook something like some, home fries. I might throw some eggs. I'm getting a little chunky anyway, so I need to just cut back a little bit. So anyway, y'all, tell me what you think. Put your comments in the comment section. And if you agree or you disagree with some of the things I shared here and what you see in this photo here with President Biden and with former President Trump looking like, what in the world is this man really losing his mind? Or is this just some, you know, antagonizing me or whatever it is? I don't know. But anyway, y'all will have a blessed, wonderful Sunday. And if God's willing, I may or may not be back with you again this evening. You all be good. Peace.